Hello, young scholars. This is Angela Walton Raji at firstdegreebound.com. Hope you're having a good day, good week, and a good marking period. This is the time. Grades are out. I know it. Take a look. It's time for a Come to Truth meeting with yourself. Are your grades where they should be? Yes or no? Could they be better? Could those C's really be B's? You know what? You can have a totally different relationship with your teacher by asking the simple question a moment or two after class. I'd like to know how I could raise my grade from a C maybe to a B next marking period. Your teacher might be surprised to, number one, hear that from you, but you might be surprised to find out how willing they are to work with you. You know, your teachers are not there just for an exchange on a one-way street. It's not just them to you, you absorb and you spit it back on a test. They're your partners. They are your partners, and if you act as if they are, you'd be surprised how many of your own teachers are willing to work with you. So, look at those marking period grades. Are any of those C's unnecessary C's? Could they have really been B's? And those of you who've already gotten the B's, why aren't they A's? Why can't they be? Usually a student who gets a B on an exam or a B in a marking period, you're already on the edge. You're on the edge of being one of the top students in the class. So why aren't you? Why aren't you pushing yourself that extra step? Sometimes we're talking about 1 mark on an exam. You know, if you have an exam that has 10 questions, you missed one, you're 90%. Well, in a lot of places, 93 and higher is an A. So you want to ask yourself, was I just 1 question away from getting that A? Maybe it's just a matter of time to task, putting that time to task to get there. Now, let's be real. I know some of you don't have the B's, don't have the C's, and some of you did a little bit less than you should have. All's not lost. This is the first marking period. Well, it's time to get serious. As some people might say, yeah, it's time to come to the truth meeting with yourself. Are you really pushing yourself where you can be? Are you really getting the most out of things? Are you finding yourself, and this is something, it's a solitary journey. Ask yourself this question. Are you finding yourself thinking more about what happens outside of the classroom, what more is going to be important in terms of what you're going to do on the weekend with your friends? The painful reality is, you know, your friends don't have an influence over what that transcript says. And look at your transcript closely. If you've gotten your grades, see what your grades have done for you in terms of your standing in your class right now. Yes, I'm talking about class rank. I'm going to talk about it all the time. You should know it like you know your address. You should know it like you know your social security number. This is something, however, you can change. You can't change your social security number, but you can change your class rank. And you can change it for the better once you make up your mind to do so. So let's get serious and take a look at where we are. You know, there's a simple formula that I've heard some people suggest. For every hour in the classroom, whether your class is 45 minutes, 50 minutes, sometimes an hour, for every hour in the classroom, you should spend at least 20 minutes to 30 minutes reviewing. Now, of course, in many cases, that review or that 20 to 30 minutes might be spent in that subject area on working on your homework assignment. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're one of those students who completes your homework at school, that's fine. But still take it home and spend at least an hour, even if it's 15 minutes per subject, to review what you did on your homework. Make sure those answers are correct. And you know, another way of engaging your teacher to become your partner in your learning process, if something has you stumped, you know, you have your teacher's email address, shoot them an email. Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Bradley, there's something that's unclear to me about problem number 26. I'm not quite sure if I should apply this formula or the next. There's nothing wrong with that kind of question. Once your teachers realize how serious you are, suddenly they'll begin to have a different relationship with you. They'll suddenly begin to have a totally different level of respect. And understand something. Your teachers are your partners. Begin to understand that, and they particularly are partners with your parents. And you want to nudge your parents to get involved if they're not. Make sure if there is a teacher conference, parent-teacher conference, that your parents go. Both may not have to. If one parent is working, that's understood. But go. Another thing that's very, very important. If you have a chance to volunteer at one of those teachers' nights or those college night events, I recommend that you consider doing that because of the exposure. Learn how to listen to people that matter and start to hear the kinds of advice. And in fact, one tip that's very, very important. If you're struggling, you're working hard in class, but you may not be the top student. Have you ever stopped to look at those who are the top students and say, well, what are they doing that's different from what I'm doing? You know, even people in the working world, there are people who are mature professionals, mid-career professionals, who will get the latest edition of 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. You know, take a look at the highly successful students and see what they do. See what they take, see what they read. And it's very important that you yourself take yourself seriously. Within a short amount of time, you're going to have others who are willing to be like you, others who are willing to emulate what you do. It's very important. We learn from each other all the time. I continually learn from young people, particularly those of you who are certainly abreast of things technologically. I'm always fascinated to see how many different applications one can utilize and go in so many directions, and I often learn from you. But in the meantime, take yourself seriously. It's time for that Come to the Truth meeting. Look at those grades from the marking period and ask yourself, is this where you want to be? Can you get a little bit better next time? You have plenty of opportunity. You have 3/4 of the year ahead of you. And if you've had a shaky beginning, you can totally turn it upside down and end out riding the crest of a wave. And of course you want to do that because you are first degree bound. I'll stop for now, and I'll talk to you next time. Be wise, be smart. Take care. Bye-bye.